Okay, so yesterday you were solving systems by graphing. Today we're still going to solve systems, but we're not going to solve them by graphing anymore. Today we're going to solve them by using substitution. Now, if you think of what the word substitution means in general, to substitute means to put something in place of. Think about if you have a substitute teacher, that means someone's in place of your teacher, but there's still a teacher there. So what we're doing today, to be able to use substitution instead of graphing, the goal is that we want one letter by itself, meaning we want one of our two equations to look as either x equals or y equals. If we can make one equation, or if it already comes to us like that, if it looks like an x equals or y equals, then we can solve by substitution easily. So if we look at this first example, our two equations are y equals 6 and 2x plus y equals 12. Our solution, just like yesterday, is still going to be an ordered pair. But if you look, they already told us what our y value is. Y is 6. So since we know that y equals 6, we're going to use that in the second equation. We're going to take that number 6 and plug it in for y. So where we see y in that second equation, we're going to plug in the number 6. And then now we have an equation with one variable, which means we can solve it by subtracting 6 on each side. So then 2x equals 6, dividing by 2, and so our x value is 3. So we already knew that our y value is 6, and now we know our x value is 3. We're going to kind of jump around. So instead of doing number 2 right now, we're going to come back to it. We're going to go to the back and do number 1. So number 1 is similar. We're given that the y value is 2, negative 2. So that means, oh wait, yours says x equals negative 2. So I'm going to change it. So we're given that x equals negative 2. Our answer is always going to be an ordered pair. So we already know that the x value is negative 2 before we do anything. So that means we're going to plug in negative 2 for x in that second equation. So 4 times negative 2 minus 3y equals 18. Now we're solving it like normal, because as long as you can get one equation to have just one variable, you can solve it. So this is negative 8 minus 3y equals 18. Solving like normal, add 8 on each side. So negative 3y equals 26. And then dividing by negative 3 on each side. And we can't divide 26 by negative 3, so that is our answer for our y value. Y is 26 thirds. Negative 26 thirds. That is okay. We have a fraction answer. We're going to leave it as a fraction though, because it can't become a nice, pretty decimal. Okay. So now we have one equation where it's telling us a letter equals a number. Now we're going to move on to a little bit more intensity. So we're going to go down to number 3. So on number 3, so to be able to do substitution, we need one side to be either x equals or y equals. We have that. In this second equation, it says that x equals 3y. So whatever that letter is by itself, that is going to get replaced in the other equation. So instead of x up there, we're going to put in a 3y. So that makes this 2y plus 3y equals negative 15. And now we have an equation where it's one letter and we can solve for it. So 5y equals negative 15. And dividing by 5, our y value is negative 3. Remember, our answer is going to be an ordered pair. We just got to the y value is negative 3, so now we're going to get the x value. To get the x value, we are going to plug that number we just got in for y into one of our two equations. That second equation is set up pretty nicely to be able to solve for x. So x equals 3y, but we just got a number for y, so it's going to go in. So x equals 3 times negative 3. So our x value is negative 9. And we have an ordered pair for x and y. The next one we're going to go to is the one right below it. So we're going to go to number 5. So on number 5, oh, actually, we're going to go to number 6 first. So on number 6, to be able to solve by substitution, we need it to either be x equals or y equals. We have a y equals right here. That means the other side of the equation is going to plug in for y in that other equation. So it's going to plug in right here. So that means it's going to be negative 3x minus 2, but now instead of 2 times y, it's 2 times what we're replacing it with. And now we just correctly substituted because we made an equation where it's just one letter. So now going through distributing, solving for x like usual. Negative 10x plus 14 equals negative 12. We can combine our x's to be negative 13x plus 14 equals negative 12. Subtract 14 on each side. So then negative 13x equals negative 26. Dividing by negative 13. And our x value is 2. Okay, remember our answer is always going to be an ordered pair. So we just got our x value of that ordered pair. Our x value is 2. Now to get the y value, we're going to take what we just got for x and use it in one of our 2 equations to solve for y. The easier equation to be able to solve for y is the first one, which is y equals 5x minus 7. So we're going to take this number we just got for x, 2, and we're going to plug it in. So y equals 5 times 2 minus 7. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 minus 7 is 3. So we got an ordered pair. And we're done. Now we're going to move on to 5. So the reason I skipped 5 in the first place are one of our 2 equations either x equals or y equals? The answer to that is no. That means we need to get either x or y by itself in one of those equations first, then solve. It doesn't matter which equation we choose, but we need to get one of those letters by itself. So if we are trying to get, let's take that first equation. That first equation looks pretty easy. We can get either x or y by itself. Look for the one that has a coefficient of 1, meaning the number in front of x or y doesn't look like it's there. Both of those have a coefficient of 1, so pick one. So if we got y by itself in that first equation, we would do that by subtracting x. So y equals negative x plus 3. Since we just got y by itself, we're taking the other side of the equation and plugging it in for that letter that was by itself, which is y. So we're going to have 3, instead of 3 times y, now it's 3 times negative x plus 3 plus x equals 11. Then we have an equation where one letter is in the equation and we can solve for it. Negative 3x plus 9 plus x equals 11. So we're distributing and combining like terms like normal. So negative 2x plus 9 equals 11. Subtract 9 on both sides. So negative 2x equals 2. Dividing by negative 2. So x equals negative 1. Remember, our answers are always going to be in order pair. We just got the x value, it's negative 1. So we're not going to use that to help get our y value. Back in one of our equations, so if we pick one of our equations, so if we pick x plus y equals 3. take that number we just got for x and plug in for it. So -1 plus y equals 3. Adding 1 on each side, so y equals 4. So we got our y value, and now we're done. So now go ahead and flip over back to the front. Back on the front, we're now going to do that example 2, the one in the middle of the page. So to be able to use substitution, we need one equation to either say x equals or y equals. If we look at that example number 2, neither one has an x equals or a y equals, so we need to get x or y by itself. If we look at that second equation, this one, we wouldn't want to solve for x because it's got a negative sign in front of it, or a minus sign in front of it, but we can rearrange it where we move x over by adding, so it would be a positive x plus 3. We now just got y by itself, which means the other side of the equation is going to go in for y in the second equation. So it's going to be x, but now instead of x plus y, it's x plus 3 equals 5. Combining like terms, 2x plus 3 equals 5. Subtracting 3 on each side, so 2x equals 2. Then dividing by 2, and x equals 1. Now that we have an x value, take one of our 2 equations. I think the second one looks a little, or that first one looks a little bit easier. Well, I guess neither one really matters. But if we're using this equation, y minus x equals 3. Take the number we just got for x and plug it in. So y minus 1 equals 3. Add 1 on each side, so y equals 4. You're not done until you have a number for x and a number for y. We got that x was 1 and y was 4, which means we're done. Okay, that is all that we're doing for today in class. I want you to keep this notes page because on Monday we're going to go over a few more of these problems. For now, what you should be doing, you're about to get your homework passed out to you. When you get it, you need to be working on the odd problems. They are going to be due on Monday. Again, you're working on the odd problems of the homework, and they're going to be due on Monday.